You know. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined as ever by Mr. Matthew of the Turner. Matt Turner, how the devil are you, good sir, as we are approaching Comic-Con season?
Yeah, absolutely, brother. I'm doing really, really good. And obviously, this is probably coming to you guys a little bit early in the week because Thursday morning, I leave for New York Comic Con. Literally, as I was telling Rob before we hit the record button, that as soon as we are done hitting the record button, that I have to start packing because I was supposed to pack on Saturday. I just never got to it. I was watching New Blood. I was just getting a lot of stuff done for the podcast, just trying to stay ahead of things. So no, I'm excited. I'm excited. I did buy my picture, my meet and greet with myself and Lily. We're meeting Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, better known as Daredevil and Kingpin. So
Nice.
so they're doing a nice little team up photo. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get them to fight in the middle photo. We shall see how that goes. But no, I'm excited. I'm always, Comic Con's always it's a really fun time. It's kind of like our annual meetup with some of my friends that I only get to see once a year. And it's always exciting and intriguing to see what one indie header is cosplaying as Rob Goodwin. So it's going to be fun. And I know that in the West, though, I think it's like the West Wing of the Javits Center there in New York City. Like an hour and a half, they do a professional wrestlers like a part of the con. So there'll be a lot of people cosplaying as certain wrestlers. There was one girl last year that did Bianca Belair to the point where me and Andy were like, "Is that really her?" Like we had a double take. Like it looked exactly like Bianca Belair. If you remember, Andy Hatter did go as Timeless Tony Storm. So
Looks magnificent. I must admit, even though I love hearing about your exploits at Comic-Con, my highlight of that weekend is definitely seeing what Andy Hedder decides to turn up as. And the unfortunate thing is he set the bar pretty damn high. I mean, his Alexa Bliss will be iconic for many years, I imagine. For me, that's sort of top tier. Did he do He-Man as well? I
he did
believe his
He-Man.
He-Man
Yeah.
was fairly spectacular as well. So he's got a lot to top this year.
We actually were walking by when he was dressed as He-Man. I believe it was 2 years ago. And Rob Liefeld, who's the creator of Deadpool, just happened to be at his booth doing pictures. I'm like, dude, we got to get a picture with Rob Liefeld with you and He-Man. I'm like, I will pay for it. So there is. And if anybody wants to see it or you want to see it, folks, you know how to get a hold of me. I will tweet at you or send you a picture where it's me, Rob Liefeld, the creator of Deadpool, and Andy Hatter as He-Man. It's a great photo. When do you
Looks
ever see that?
spectacular.
And then it was, I think, the year before he went as Jem from Jem and the Holograms for all you 80s kids. And
Wow.
that's when we met Todd McFarlane. Yes, the creator of Venom and Spawn. And it was funny because the lady that was kind of like, okay, you're next. Like, give me your thing to sign. She just staring at Heather. And I go, boy, I bet you when you woke up this morning that you didn't think that you'd have a fully grown man dressed up as a Jem meeting the creator of Venom and Spawn. She's like, nope, didn't see that on my bingo card today.
I mean, to be fair, it's just because he looks so damn good doing it. That's the thing. Like he doesn't just half-arse it. He goes all in, which I am a huge fan of.
Yeah, he did tell me the one thing he was cosplaying as. And I was like, no, don't tell me, don't tell me. But do you want, since he told me, Rob, do you want me to tell you the one thing that he is cosplaying as? Or do
Hell
you want to be,
no.
oh, you want to be surprised?
No,
Okay.
God, no, absolutely not. That should go without saying. Like,
I
if I
know.
get a picture, if I get a message from you and I see that it's an image, I might not open it for a couple of hours just so that I can build my own suspense. Never mind telling me on the podcast, what are you doing?
I just asking, I asked permission. If you don't ask, the answer's always no. And clearly that was a hard no. That
It
was
was
a
a
hard no.
hard pass, a hard pass. Well, Matt Turner, I am without sticky feet this episode, which is always a bonus. Although, hilariously, I did move my boom arm out, which holds my microphone, and immediately knocked my tea over. So, thankfully, it does have a lid on it. So it's not just a one-time thing. I am just that clumsy.
Consistency. Consistency is
Absolutely.
key, folks.
Absolutely. But only one show to talk about today. Me and you were talking off air, Matt, that it is only New Blood that we're going to be talking about today. We would have spoken about historic crossover, and we'll talk a little bit about the results. But for whatever reason, not only did this show not air anywhere, which, okay, fair enough, maybe there is not streaming capabilities. I completely understand that. They haven't published the results like anywhere. Not on social media, not on Stardom's website, not on New Japan's website. It's like the show didn't happen. In fact, if it wasn't for Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki tweeting out their fantastic adventures in Guangzhou, I'm not sure this show happened. I was like, am I in the Twilight Zone? Did the show actually happen? I mean, other than that and the fact that Hanako didn't turn up at New Blood, those are the only two indicators that a show even happened.
Rumor has it that if you go into the back door of that Marigold show that we still can't find from last year, that's where this took place. It was like, and it's so funny because I'm a massive fan of the Twilight Zone, a show that happened 20 some years before I was even born. But like it starts off with like the door, this is the door in the Twilight Zone. That's what that is.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you were to open that door into the Twilight Zone, you go to this supposed show. This show should have been the real Forbidden Door. That's what they should have called this show.
Absolutely. I mean, I get the fact that it hasn't been streamed. Fair enough. Like maybe there's some sort of, maybe Infin have got first dibs or first refusal on the streaming or whatever in China. That's perfectly fine. But for the results not to be tweeted out, and we are over 24 hours removed from this show as we record, and there is not hide nor hair of it. Now, thankfully, through pictures and assumptions, I know the results of the 3 Stardom matches, but that is it. Like Stardom put out that we will be putting out the results on social media tomorrow. I was like, why tomorrow? What has happened that there needs a 24-hour delay between the show happening and the results just being tweeted out? Like they're tweeted out during the show for Stardom, and yeah, okay, fair enough. They haven't taken their entire crew out there. I get that, but really, there's not one person who knows how to operate Twitter, apparently. On the entire crew of Stardom that went over, not one person knows how to operate Twitter. Very bizarre. I'm sure there is a reason for this, by the way. A very logical reason that I just haven't thought about. But I just find it baffling. I was looking at it going, how, why? Like, what is going on?
We should hit the record button 2 minutes before we did because Rob was going off in the funniest way. And I told him, I said, well, at least that Miyu and Starlight Kid had fun. And that's the most important thing. It's like, like whenever you're at a sporting event or a wrestling event or whatever, and somebody has a sign that says, sure, I don't care who wins. I just hope both teams have fun. At least we know from pictures, Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki, they had a good time. Neo Genesis living up to their gimmick of being just the coolest faction in the world and taking it worldwide over to China. Because it's like, I don't know who won. I forget who they were wrestling. I know who they wrestled, but I'm just saying, I forget who they wrestled, but damn, they had a good time. Or did they even wrestle? I don't know. They're in their gear.
Are they even there? Are they even there? Did this show even happen, Matt? Or is it all just a ruse? Who knows? Well, I mean, those people that were there would know.
The Twilight Zone with Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki.
We have obviously only got the one show to talk about. Like I say, probably won't take us that long to get through the 6 matches of New Blood, even though very, very good New Blood show. And it's been nice to go back to the New Blood events as well. They've been missed. I enjoy them as a concept, and I enjoy having a little bit more of a spotlight put onto the likes of an MMA Shima or Kikyo Furusawa, who had a really good match to open this show, actually, and to have Ronnie Igami in the main event in a singles match, which is always great to see. And she again really capitalized on that in what was, as I mentioned, a really good New Blood show. We've got a couple of bits of news to get into. As Matt has already said, we are recording this a tiny bit early. We're recording this on the Monday. I'm in charge of the schedule this week, which is horrifying. But so again, I might put this out on Wednesday. Again, if you're listening to this, you'll know when it's gone out, but I might put this out on Wednesday. So if there's any breaking news that's happened, maybe the results of Historic Crossover 3 have dropped, then obviously they won't be in this show because we've recorded it Monday, the 6th of October.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. Something probably will break, like literally as soon as we get done hitting the record button, they'll be like, they'll give like the tag, they'll break out the tag. FWC is going to be in the AEW women's tag tournament. Like, son of a gun.
Of course, of course. But before we get into any of that, Mr. Turner, of course, talk to me about what is coming up on the Stardom Cast Extra this week.
This week, we did release our top 5 favorite non-Stardom and Stardom themes, and we did ask, hey, but in the comment section over on Patreon, let us know what your favorite theme is. And about an hour after we drop it, our good friend Steve said, Saki Kashmir, you guys don't give enough love for
Underrated.
Saki. Yeah.
Underrated that. I actually listened to it after he'd put that comment on. I was like, okay, because I get it. I always get hers mixed up with Suzu Suzuki. So whenever I try and listen to it in my head, it just turns into Suzu Suzuki's. And then I was listening to it, I was like, oh, this is a banger, actually, to be fair, isn't it?
Yeah, almost as good as her Fists of the North Star theme she used at last year's 5-star Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But anywho, the two episodes that we just dropped again was our top. Myself and Andy had our top 5 favorite Stardom themes and our top 5 favorite Joshi themes that aren't Stardom, and then alternate commentary that we released. I go back to night 1 of the 2023 Goddess of Stardom Tag League. The main event is Eye Contact, Mayu Utani and Hanan taking on FWC, Hazuki, and Stars. Then later this week, Tag Team Breakdown. Again, folks, I was just trying to stay on top of things while I'm away. So this one was a solo episode. I didn't have Andy Header on this one with me, but Tag Team Breakdown as we go to the 2021 Goddess of Stardom tag tournament as Aphrodite, Tommy Hayashista, and Sai Kamatani take on FWC. Yeah, a lot of FWC in my life, folks. That's why I'm always happy. Hazuki and Kaguma. So that'll be Tag Team Breakdown. That'll be on your feed sometime later on this week. And then next week, the alternate commentary. More than likely, because as much as I watched this match, I've only seen it once. More than likely, I'm going to go back just about a month or so back in time to the 5-star Grand Prix, Azumi versus Starlight Kid, because why not, Rob Goodwin? Why not? So that is everything that is already on your feed, everything that's coming on next week. And then, folks, again, a whole host of just so much great stuff with alternate commentaries, roundtable discussions, what ifs. I mean, the back catalog that we have there is absolutely incredible. About 4 years with the really great stuff. Title reviews, rivalry reviews, a lot of great stuff over there on the Stardom Cast Extra.
Absolutely. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast as well. You get the Stardoms and Marigold's show reviews and show previews as well. So lots and lots to get your teeth into for as little as a solitary $1 a month, 25 cents a week. Quick maths there, Mr. Turner. But yeah, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. Let's delve into a little bit of news then, and we're going to start with the announcement of something of a dream match, which again we've seen before, but I've been longing to see again, and that is of course Mesa Ruga versus Azumi. It's been announced that as part of Emi Sakura's 30th anniversary show entitled Cult Heroine, that Azumi will be taking on Mei Suruga on the 30th of October in Shinjuku. Face also on that show, AW's Riho will be returning to Japan to take on Miya Yatsuba in singles action as well. Matt, of course, Azumi and Mei Suruga, I believe, in the Cinderella Tournament 2022. Absolutely phenomenal singles match. We've seen these two team together as well. We know how good their chemistry is. How excited are you to see this run back?
Really, really excited. And we just mentioned the Patreon. If you remember, I think it was about 2 years ago, Rob, you and I did a alternate commentary of that match with Mei Suruga and Azumi from the final night of the 2022 Cinderella tournament. I remember about like 3 minutes in, we were exhausted because it was so fast and so good and just really great storytelling. And actually, myself and Andy over on Talk Joshi, we a couple weeks ago reviewed Tokyo Joshi Pro's Wrestle Princess, which Mei Suruga was on the show. I did make mention as every time I see her, I was like, man, I just want to see that match with Azumi ran back. I just want to see that match with Azumi ran back. And I put it out there in the ether. I'm not saying that I'm any of the reason that it happened, but I was woke up and I was like, oh, well, all right. Fantastic. So yeah, super excited about this. The day before Halloween, as I'm looking at this graphic here, Devil's Night for all you fans of Brandon Lee's The Crow movie. So super pumped for this one. I did ask quite a bit of people, how do I watch this? And they said usually these shows, they go up on YouTube a week or two after. I'm hoping the demand is so high they do a live stream between this and the JTO anniversary tag match that we keep talking about. Hopefully they get them up sooner than later, but we shall see. But Yeah, super excited. Again, Azumi is on a complete tear. One of the best wrestlers. Her in-ring year that she's having right now is second to none. Again, I think she's the second best wrestler in all of wrestling this year, only second to one Sai Kamatani. Mesa Ruga, I've only seen some of her matches this year, Rob. Obviously, another one ever improving. This is going to be fantastic. Super excited to see this. And again, kudos to Stardom taking one of their biggest stars and then putting her on another show to help that company out. But yeah, super pumped for this one. We got a lot of great wrestling coming up really that week, because again, after that week is the next Stardom pay-per-view. But yeah, and then a couple days before is Grand Destiny. So again, who's got it better than us? But this is a match that people talk about all the time. And again, go back and watch it. Go back 3 years ago and watch that match from the final night of the 2022 Cinderella tournament. In my opinion, Rob, this is their high-speed championship match that they had back 3 years ago. Is definitely my top 5 favorite high-speed matches ever in the history of that title. And again, these two wrestlers are far better now than they were back then. So super pumped for this one.
Yeah, and just speaking about Just Tap Out as well, there is some great news on that front as well, as there will be JTO representation on New Japan, which obviously is huge. Tomoka Inaba will be teaming with Rhythm against Azusa Inaba and Aoi for the JTO Girls Tag Team Championships, and that is on the New Japan Road in Ishikari show, Taichi's homecoming show on October 19th. So more great stuff, and again, some more exposure for the fantastic talent over at Just Tap Out. Moving on then, again, as we know, because of that terrifying press conference, Starlight Kid is indeed having her 10th anniversary show on the 20th of October. We announced, of course, that the main event is going to be the trio of Starlight Kid, El Desperado, and Dragon Kid against 3 mystery opponents. Last week, it was confirmed that one of those opponents was indeed going to be Kyoko Inoue. We did speculate as to who those others might be, but something else that they have announced this week is there will be a Rumble on this show comprised of mystery competitors. Now, it doesn't say whether these competitors will be announced beforehand or whether they will be announced just at the show as they enter. That's not quite clear. I'm sure, obviously, we will have something a little bit closer to the time. But Matt, for those of us who are looking on YouTube, there are a couple of outlines, a couple of silhouettes there that look familiar, don't they?
Yeah, a little bit like the one in the middle. Would that be Tora? Kind of like
The
with their
one with
headgear?
the one with the horns. Yeah, it does look very old school Tora, yes. I don't know if it will be. There is one to the left as I'm looking at it that looks the spitting image of Aya Sakura. Um, although that could also potentially be Zones. So who knows?
Yeah, we have somebody doing the Brian Danielson yes taunt, but with really long hair. So you're
It is
throwing it
Brian
off with that.
Danielson. It's been confirmed it is
Oh,
actually Brian Danielson.
oh, that's nice. But like, yeah, I want to see Starlight Kid versus Brian Danielson.
Oh,
That's a miscue.
imagine for
That'd
the
been
white
awesome.
belt.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, and then you look at the two all the way to the right. It's just the most basic silhouettes ever. It was like copy and
Yeah,
paste from Google.
really generic. Yes. Yeah. Sorry to those who actually are those silhouettes. I apologize. But yeah, obviously, we don't know yet who any of those competitors are going to be. Hopefully, we get word before the show. But if not, I imagine it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, which is, I imagine this show itself is going to be a lot of fun. Really excited for this Shinjuku Face on the 20th of October. It is a pay per view. So I'm hoping that an international link will be distributed very shortly, as I know the Japanese link is already live.
I believe Stardom will put up their schedule, Rob, for the month of October, and this is a pay per view. So my guess would be is there's going to be like the stage crowd thing that we watch it on. So my guess is that we'll be able to watch this live via PPV.
Excellent news. Excellent news. Speaking of Stardom out and about, as per usual, it is the Hazuki cast We first go to the 4th of October. We talked about last week that there was going to be some Stardom participation at SEAdLINNNG's Kawasaki show. Sayurita, Yuna Mizumori, and Hazuki all in action from the Colts Kawasaki. Sayurita defeated Yuki Funa in just over 8 minutes in the opener to the show. Yuna Mizumori also walked away victorious from her match with Celine Missouri in just over 10 minutes. And then Team Hazuki, which comprised Makoto, Miku Kanai, and Jaguar Yokota, they walked away victorious against a powerhouse team, really, of Miria Koga, Ayumi Sasamura, Ryo Mizunami, and Yumiko Hotta. So a great time to be a part of Stardom, apparently, Matt. But it didn't end there for Hazuki. It didn't end there for Hazuki because she made her Diana debut on the 5th of October at Diana's Korakuen Hall show, where Hazuki defeated the Taiwanese wrestler Xian Xian in just under 11 minutes. So it was a good time to be a part of Stardom. It was even better time to be Hazuki, Matt.
Yeah, I did see, especially from the Diana show, they tweeted out a whole bunch of video clips like ringside, and boy howdy, Hazuki, she was Hazuki. Like
Yes.
Yeah, if you like Hazuki for the same reason that we do, because she hits really, really hard. It's a fantastic wrestler. It's like, yeah, I don't know who this girl she was wrestling, but yeah, I was praying for her because Hazuki was really laying it in. Obviously, she's hitting hard in safe places, but yeah, again, she made mention after All-Star Grand Queendom she wants to be worldwide Hazuki, and she is the busiest person on the Stardom roster. Her and Micah, the two busiest people on the Stardom roster without actually wrestling.
Micah's on the shelf.
I know, she's so busy. It's, oh my goodness, like with the press work and whatnot. When Hazuki and Micah come back to Stardom full time, they're gonna be as big as Saya Kamatani because they're all over the place. And again, with this AEW tag tournament, my guess is FWC is going to be in it, like once everything gets announced. So I think Hazuki's even going to be a bigger star. But good on Hazuki getting out there. And again, not only that, I saw that the attendance numbers on these shows that I've been seeing on social media, that they're higher. Like Hazuki's drawing more tickets. She's helping bringing more eyeballs to these different companies, which at the end of the day, then everybody wins. There's just more people watching wrestling because the name on the marquee is wrestling, whether it's WWE, whether it's Diana, whether it's Marigold, whether it's Stardom, whether it's TNA. At the end of the day, we just want more people watching wrestling, and bringing a big star like Hazuki from Stardom over to some of these other Joshi independents. At the end of the day, it's just really helping on everybody. So again, wrestling, it doesn't need to be that complicated. It is a sport that everybody can win. And Hazuki's doing the best job out there, if you ask me, Rob. Again, her and Micah.
Yeah, absolutely. The SEAdLINNNG number, just going back off it, they ran SEAdLINNNG the exact same venue back in March and drew 698. This one drew 709 people. So the Hazuki effect is in an increase of 11 people. So excellent for Hazuki. Any increase is, of course,
Absolutely.
an increase. And then the Diana number for Korakuen was 702, which I think is quite good. I know that TJPW are right around the 750 mark, I think. Sort of 740, 750. I might be wrong about that, but I'm sure I read that was roughly where they were at Korakuen at the moment. So that's a really good number for Diana. And it was a stacked show as well. Kyoko Inoue versus Tomoka Watanabe and Yuki Miyazaki for the Diana Queen Elizabeth title. You'd got Ayako Sato and Debbie Keetle versus Haruka Umasaki and Unagi Sayaka for the tag titles. Yuna Manas versus Nanami was also on that card. You've got Jaguar Yokota on there, Hiragi Kurumi on there, Makoto, Misa Kagura, Tae Honma, Risa Seira, Yu, Maika Ozaki. There was a lot of very, very good names on that card. So when that is available to watch, I will certainly be checking out some of that because there are some very, very good matches on that card. Right, Matt. Historic Crossover 3, because we haven't talked about it enough. I'm only going to go through the Stardom matches because I'll be perfectly honest, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't got a Scooby-Doo what the other matches were, never mind the results, because again, I just can't seem to find anything. However, from certain things that have been tweeted out by different wrestlers and from basically trying to Frankenstein myself some sort of result from this show. The 3 Stardom matches from this card. Lady C and Amisori defeated Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki in the opener. Hanako successfully retained the Future of Stardom Championship against Aya Sakura. And then in your main event, the Cosmic Angels trio of Natsuko, Sioriano, and Sayaka Kurora defeated the Hate trio of Natsuko, Tora, Rina, and Ruaka in the main event. So again, those results are what I believe happened. I know that the first 2 happened because Lady C tweeted something out about picking up a win on their way towards the title match at Korakuen. I know that Hanako retained because she tweeted something out, and there was a lot of photos of Cosmic Angels standing tall underneath the banner for Historic Crossover and with fireworks going off, or pyro going off. So they did have enough money for pyro, just not enough for a man on social media to post the results. So there you go. But
Balgoon is spitting fire, folks. But he's not telling any lies. He's not telling any lies. Again,
all the results on social media. All the results on social media. No. Did they have pyro? Yes.
Did the show actually happen? Maybe.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's all AI generated. Didn't happen. But again, I'm assuming that Cosmic Angels secured the victory over Hate because that's what we saw. I'm assuming that the results will go up tomorrow, and there will be a perfectly rational reason as to why there's been such a delay in them going up. But nevertheless, I do find it extremely entertaining that ordinarily the shows are live tweeted in tandem with the actual show. And we've got to wait 48 hours for this, but never mind. I'm sure we'll review this show if and when it airs on a streaming service of some description. Matt Turner, you successfully manifested this into the ether. So obviously last week we talked about Sari making her Ring of Honor debut on last week's episode of Ring of Honor TV. She teamed successfully with Alex Windsor against Diamante and Billy Starks. Well, following that, Sari also had an IWGP Women's Championship match against Alex Windsor that is coming up this coming Thursday on Ring of Honor on Honor Club. Again, I'm not going to spoil the results for anyone that has or wants to watch this unspoiled, so I'm not going to spoil it for you. I think it's very cool that she is wrestling Alex Windsor, who, of course, let's not forget, was the only successful defense of Syuri's reign with the belt. So nice, interesting parallels between Sari and Syuri as we continue their heated rivalry for the IWGP Women's Championship. Excellent for Sari to get out to the United States again. This, by the way, the tag match, was the first televised match Sari has had in the United States, discounted Sukiban because they only aired on TikTok, since her final match in NXT. In August of 2022. She lost that match, Matt. Can you guess who the person she lost to in her final NXT match to was?
Was it Wendy Cho?
It was not Wendy Chu. No, it was not the weird sleeping zombie person. No, it wasn't.
Was it Toni Storm?
It wasn't Toni Storm. I think Toni Storm might have been in AEW at that point.
I know. I'm just throwing. It was the Great Khali.
It was the Great Khali. Yes, it was indeed. Mandy Rose, by the way.
I remember that.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Just let that sink in for a minute. Sari's final match in NXT, and that awful gimmick they saddled her with was a loss to Mandy Rose. So there you go. It's nice to see her getting over to the States and showing everyone what she's able to do. I imagine that this will not be the end of her run in the United States. I do believe that she will not be at Wrestle Dream. I believe Dylan of the Stardom Quest actually tweeted out that she was actually wrestling for Marvelous on that day. She won't be at Wrestle Dream, but I would be very, very surprised if we don't see Sari on a Dynamite very, very soon.
Yeah, I believe it was Fightful and some on her only dates. They just brought her in just to kind of get her familiar with certain situations. And I guess this match was so good with Sari versus Alex Windsor that Tony Khan came out afterwards and
He
like
did.
shook her hand. And then, I mean, that's a big deal. The owner of the second biggest wrestling company coming out, basically, you know, that's a stamp of approval. So yeah, I think a couple places tweeted out and said that these were just 2 dates that she did that they wanted her in, just to kind of basically see how she's going to look on TV, and that she's going to be back in the United States doing a lot more stuff. So I am all for that, good sir. I am all for that.
Did you happen to see the tag match?
I did not. I'm actually probably going to do, probably after I pack, I'm going to watch the tag match, the last match from Marigold that just went up today, and then I need to watch that Monday Magic 6-person tag. So I got a couple matches to watch. That'll be basically, Rob, I always say like work hard and always have something to look forward to. So my packing, which will take me all of maybe about 10, 15 minutes. After I'm done with that, then it like my day at work today. I'm like, okay, once I get done, I get the podcast with Rob and hear him go off about how great Historic Crossover 3 was. So that's my that's my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So when I'm done kind of getting my stuff ready for New York, I'm going to go and watch the tag match, and then you know, that match from Monday Magic. But I didn't see it, Rob Goodwin, but did you, good sir?
I have seen it, yes. It's again, the reason I brought up the NXT thing was because obviously in NXT she wasn't allowed to be herself, or it didn't feel that way anyway. And in this match, she was just Sari, which was great. Her and Alex Windsor had really good chemistry. I really want to see Sari versus Billy Starks. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who watched this match that thought the same thing. Alex Windsor picked up the submission victory over Diamante with the sharpshooter. So again, a good match, really solid tag team action. They gave us a bit of time as well. I think it went about 11, 12 minutes. But yeah, I'm glad that they have given Sari another platform to have this match on. So again, I'm also a big fan of how she's almost mirroring what Shiori did with the belt. Although, of course, we did have those vignettes of Shiori appearing at Ring of Honor, and then she just never did. So fingers crossed, now that she's back from injury and she's wrestling again, fingers crossed we do get Shiori in Ring of Honor as well. Just maybe in a pure rules match. That'd be nice.
Ooh, like maybe versus like Serena Deeb.
Yeah.
That'd be
Serena
really
Deeb,
good.
Yuka Sakazaki, maybe. Do we dare to dream?
Oh man, that'd be something. You know, Serena but the Athena, they were going back and forth on Twitter the other day.
Mhm.
I think it was yesterday or the day before. So that's a pot. But what do you do there? You have Ring of Honor champion versus IWGP. That's probably a time limit draw. You probably go there, maybe the old double knockout. Yeah, because I think ROH rules is 60 minutes from those old Punk Joe, Danielson Nigel matches. But again, I mean, we shall see. Because again, we think the whole end game for Cerise championship is to drop it to Sherry and Sumo Hall. I think that's the way to go. As much as I would love to see Sherry versus Sari on an AEW show, you know, that'd be really cool to watch that, you know, on, you know, in front of how many thousands of people watching. Yeah, I just want that match in Sumo Hall. I think that's where it needs to be, Rob. That's where it needs to be.
Yeah, and I imagine it will be. In terms of obviously where Sadi and Athena might happen, I do think that's probably, we are going to get that somewhere. But the great thing about AEW is that they have so many Dynamite specials that, you know, you can put that on a Dynamite special and it does feel very much like a pay-per-view. You know, we've just had the 6th anniversary of Dynamite. You have things like Winter is Coming and Beach Break and all these things where they do feel like pay-per-view level shows. So that would fit perfectly, just because it isn't going to happen at WrestleDream. Yeah, I imagine it will happen, even if it happens back in Japan. Like, you know, maybe Shiori isn't in the picture at Sumo Hall, and maybe they do Sari versus Athena. I imagine they will probably do Sari versus Shiori, and that's what the match should be. However, if you were to say you're not going to get that, you are going to get Sari versus Athena instead, I'd be quite happy. I would be like, oh, never mind. But also, Holy Mother of God.
And then Sherry versus Saya Kamatani. Be like, oh, all right,
Ooh,
all right.
all right. I see
Yeah.
what you did there.
Yeah. Or they can do Sari versus Athena at Final Battle for Ring of Honor, because that's like their big show.
Mm.
So there's a lot of possibilities. There really is. So we shall see. We'll keep our finger on the pulse, good sir. So we do have Honor Club. So we'll be watching these matches and reporting back to you fantastic folks over at the Stardom Cast.
And with that, we will be going to New Blood 24, the return, Matt Turner, of the New Blood series, the first of 3 that we have got over the month of October. This one, New Blood 24, from the 4th of October from the Bellsal Shinjuku Grand Hall in Tokyo, as have the vast majority of the other New Blood shows. This one did air live on YouTube, and you can watch it now as well for free on Stardom's YouTube channel. The announced attendance, a couple of differing figures. Some sites saying 216, some people saying 214. I've gone with 216. It's a 41.18% increase on the previous installment of New Blood, which was 153, if you remember, for New Blood 23, way back on the 4th of July. Despite that, it is an 8.47% decrease on the previous New Blood event at the venue, which was 236 for New Blood 16. So an increase, which is great because obviously prior to this show, there was a rather steep decline in attendances for New Blood. I know that they were announcing sellouts when they were running Tokyo Square and Itabashi at around the 150 mark, but we've seen them get 200 in that venue before. So to get over 200 and a big increase in terms of numbers is a good win for this show. In terms of the results, then, they are as follows. In a singles match, Emma Shima and Kikyo Furusawa ended in a 10-minute time limit draw. Three-way match, Yuki Mashiro defeated Uriah Himi and Fukigen Death. Yuki getting the pin over Death with the Tokomori clutch in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Perhaps the only time I've ever seen Fukigen Death lose a three-way match. Don't Google that, by the way. Tag team match, EXV, Waka Tsukiyama and Rian. They defeated Achika Miyabi and Riara. With Waka Tsukiyama pinning Riara with the Moonlight Dream in 11 minutes and 25 seconds. Another singles match, really good. Just wish it had gone a little bit longer. Hina defeating Kyoka Kotatsu in an all God's eye affair. Hina getting the win with the modified jackhammer in 7 minutes and 18 seconds. Tag team match, probably up there as my favorite match of the night. Mavida Loca, Bozilla, and Akira Gargane. They defeated the team of Zones and Soy, with Bozilla pinning Soy with the Vader Bomb in 13 minutes and 31 seconds. And then in your main event, Tae Honma's final Stardom appearance, Ronnie Ogami defeated Tae with a beat strike in 12 minutes and 40 seconds. So, Matt, we'll start with that opener, Emma Maishima and Kikyo Furusawa. Now, we did a podcast maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you were saying about how you were invested in pretty much all the characters in Stardom, as high as Saya Kamatani and, you know, going all the way down to people who are early in their careers, such as Emma Maishima and Kikyo Furusawa. So what were your thoughts on this match and it going to that 10-minute time limit draw?
Again, I talked about it last week. One of the many things I love about these New Blood shows is these younger wrestlers on the roster are getting time to tell their story. If you remember during the Corkin show about a month or so ago, they fought that 5-star Grand Prix playoff. They had the tag match with like all the rookies in there and went like 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're not going to get that, you know. And so that's what you're not going to get Emma and Kikyo and Uriah Himi getting the 10 minutes to tell their stories on the main Stardom roster for obvious reasons. You have your Sayas, your Momo, so on and so forth. So the New Blood, this was perfect. I thought 10 minutes, you're giving them time to get more familiar with the longer matches. You're giving them time to tell longer stories with the crowd, to understand crowd psychology, when to do what, when to do a certain thing at a certain time, how to take the crowd onto an emotional roller coaster. And these two, for wrestling less than a year, hit an absolute home run. I thought they were great. Kikyo has a really good character and is great in the ring. I think Emma might be just a little bit better, but doesn't have really that character down just yet. Doesn't have that aura down just yet. Regardless, again, this was really great, like really great back and forth. You kind of had the high-speed style to start, really great chain wrestling. The striking between both these wrestlers have improved so much over the last 4 or 5 months. It's like the believability, the selling, again, knowing they didn't have to rush because they had the full 10 minutes to tell their story. I'll tell you this too, Rob. Again, I say all the time, whenever these matches go to a time limit draw, I go into my MMA brain. I'm like, okay, if I'm a judge and this was a fight and it went the full, 3 rounds or 5 rounds, who am I judging the winner? This to me, even though obviously in the record books, the time limit draw was a 50-50 match. Like they did a great job keeping it even kill. This was a great match to start the show. I'm so excited for the future of these two wrestlers. And again, you mixed Emma and Kikyo in with this loaded roster that is Stardom with the Izumis, the Starlight Kids, the Suzu, so on and so forth. They're only going to get better. And this was the product that we got. 3.5 stars. Bravo to both these ladies. This was great.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. You mentioned when we had the 5-star Grand Prix quarterfinals and second round matches, that we had that. I think it was 5-minute match, that 5-minute tag match, and it was there to sort of break up the very intense matches that we had for the 5-star Grand Prix. But ultimately, you're not going to get a great feel for the rookies in a match like that. And that's why a show like New Blood is so important. You've hit the nail on the head there. Emma Maishima, I think, in terms of in ring, has certainly got the basics down to a more solid degree than Kikyo. However, Kikyo has such a great character and a very unique way of wrestling. Again, that transition into the knee bar that she does, so beautiful, so seamless. And that sort of flair is something that I think Emma Maishima could learn from, And then again, in terms of the smoothness of moveset, that's something that Kikyo could learn from. So putting these two in the ring together, I think, is a really good way to open this show. And again, goes some way to show just how solid this undercard is in Stardom. Moving on to the three-way, Fu King and Death cheated. Matt Turner cheated out of a victory by that dastardly heel Yuki Mashiro. Of course, I'm joking, but nevertheless, a good match, Matt. And again, Yuki Mashiro, very, very good wrestler. We saw it in, the fleeting time she was in Marigold, those handful of shows. I know that when she was in Ice Ribbon, she was getting a lot of plaudits as well. Fukin Death, we know that when it's her time, she can turn it on. Even now, we saw it in the high-speed title match with Maysara, where, even with the new rule set, she put on a really, really good match and is more than capable of keeping up. And I thought Uriah Hime did very, very well in inserting her own sort of style on this match.
You just mentioned how Yuki kind of said in jest was a dastardly heel, but no, you're right. She got the most heat in this match because
She did.
they do the fast double down spots, the double drop downs early on, and then Fukin Death is the thing where she smokes the imaginary cigarette. And Yuki took it and threw it out of the ring, and she got booed out of the building.
Disgraceful.
Booed out of the building, and then it was the genius idea of who's the one that's going to stop the Fukin Death, and it was Yuki, and she get booed again. She got the big, she was great in this match. This match was really built around her, which was interesting because considering the fact New Blood is Stardom, and obviously Fukin Death is a part-timer at Stardom, and obviously Uriah Hime is a full-timer at Stardom. So I thought it was interesting that she won. Again, three-ways are tough to do considering the fact that you have somebody who really has never wrestled in Stardom before. Uriah Hime's only a rookie. And obviously, Fukin Death has a world of experience. And they made it work. You had your comedy, you had the fast start, you had the really great stuff back and forth. I would love to see a singles match with Yuki and Uriah Hime. They had really great instant chemistry. And you can see Fukin Death, she just came in and put her parts in at the right spot. And I really like the finish of this match where Uriah Hime was on the top rope, wondering what she was going to do. And then Fukin Death does the O'Connor roll spot where she pushes Yuki into the top rope, knocking Uriah Hime off the rope, basically eliminating her from the match. And Yuki somehow outsmarts the clown. Not outsmarts the clown. She's a champion right now in Stardom and is able to catch her in that arm capture roll up. I thought this was terrific. I had it 3 3/4 stars. I really enjoyed it. And I know Yuki said after the match in a promo that she wants to come back to New Blood and Stardom. I'm all for it because I think she fits in really well, especially with this young crop of wrestlers, Rob. I would love her to see her in Stardom more and maybe full time on all these 84 New Blood shows we have this month.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. Obviously, I think Yuki would be a great fit, especially in that division. And again, who wouldn't want to see her versus Maysara for the high speed title? Or indeed, if Yuna Mizumori does dethrone Maysara at the end of the year, Yuna Mizumori versus Yuki Mashiro will be a great first title defense for Yuna. We saw Yuki being a great first title defense for Victoria Hazuki for the Superfly title and did a very good job as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Moving on, Waka Tsukiyama capitalizing on a great singles victory over Momo Kogo at Korakuen Hall, picking up another one here with the pinfall win over Riara. And I must admit, Matt Turner, it's great to see Riara back. And from what we learned about Riara, and her backstory and how she'd saved her parents' seats at a wrestling show and the parents didn't come, and I'm always going to root for her, whatever promotion she's in, whoever she's wrestling. I will always root for her, just because it breaks my heart. That does, it really, really does. That being said, I knew she was taking the pinfall in this match. I knew she was taking the pinfall in this match. I knew it would probably be to Waka Tsukiyama, simply because obviously she's one half of the New Blood Tag Team Champions. But that being said, 11 minutes and 25 seconds, we got a lot of time to see a lot of good things from Waka, but in particular, Matt, a lot of good things from Rian, who has just, again, especially since the 5-star Grand Prix, has really begun to find her strides in this trio of EXV.
Yeah, again, we're only a few weeks away of them starting to announce the teams for the Goddess Tournament, because the Goddess Tournament's only a month away. I think the start is the 7th.
Yep.
So you're kind of seeing who's going to shape up. Obviously, EXV, they have more, I think, wrestlers on the shelf than they do active in the ring. So you're going to kind of wonder how this EXV, how's it going to shape up? I'm all for Waka and Rian being a tag team, and they showed on this one. Really great chemistry, great stuff here. You're absolutely right. It's so great seeing Riara. So, I mean, she was really, really entertaining, really great in her role of Marigold. And then I kind of just lost track of where she was at. And then when she came to the ring, I'm like, oh, it all clicked again. And really great, terrific in the ring. Looked just so excited to be there. New blood.
Yeah.
Part of the Stardom brand on YouTube. I think there was something like 20,000 people that watched this show. I think within the first handful of hours. So a lot of eyeballs on her. I thought she was terrific, but yeah, absolutely. You can just see the way this match was building, where it was. I hope I'm saying this name right. Erica Miyabi. Am I saying that right?
Achika Miyabi.
Achika. She was clearly, they had her. She was the powerhouse in this match. Even look at this.
She looked good.
Yeah, like you can tell as soon as she came, like, okay, you kind of know how this is going to go. Waka and Rian are obviously two of the smaller and lovable members of the Stardom roster. So they took a pasting, but then again, they used their teamwork to get rid of the big giant. Again, I really like that. It was just like, look, clearly, we know what we're doing. It's EXV. Again, one of the most underrated trios in all of Stardom. I'm a big fan of Waka, Rian, and Hanako as a trio. They did a great job taking her out, and then having Waka just put away Riara with the Moonlight Dream suplex. Really solid stuff. 3.25 stars for me. And again, I'm all for more Riara on these New Blood shows.
I'm intrigued to know where we're going with the New Blood Tag Team titles, because obviously Hina said something just before dropping the future belt to Hanako about making that title relevant or making it mean something. Obviously, we thought that we might be getting Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora challenge for the belts. That seemed to be leading more towards an Aya Sakura Future of Stardom Championship challenge, which may or may not have happened at Historic Crossover 3. We're not sure if that show actually happened.
I knew it was
coming. Obviously, that sort of clears the deck in terms of challenges. Now, what would be very interesting is to see maybe Hanako and Waka versus Hina and Kyoko Katatsu. That I'd be very interested to see. Obviously, we've then got Sakura Demon. Maybe they make another challenge for Rice or Bread. Obviously, we've already seen that match once, I believe, in New Blood 20. So you could run Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora against those two. Again, Hanako obviously has the step up, the advantage over Aya Sakura, but it could be a chance for Aya Sakura to get the win back. I personally think that now Hanako has a singles championship, that Rice or Bread will drop the tag titles, because the New Blood brand, I think, will benefit. And we said this when Hina was champion, will benefit from having a singles title, and will also benefit from having those tag titles. Now, obviously, the tag titles are defended almost exclusively on these shows. I think they've only been defended on a non-New Blood show once. The future belt, it was almost a staple of these shows, and then has sort of almost graduated from these shows and gone up to, we've seen it defended at Korakuen, we've seen it defended also, we've seen it apparently defended in China. I'm not letting this go, man.
I know. And that's the beauty of this segment. It's not a segment, it's an ongoing segment.
I'm intrigued to know where we're going to see Hanako. I have a feeling that they're not going to have her just defend that belt on New Blood, even though I would love to see New Blood have that title defense. But I think because Stardom are so behind Hanako, that we will see that on wider shows. We might see the odd defense at New Blood, especially with this raft of shows that we've got in October, but I doubt that it will be anything close to a New Blood exclusive title, even though I quite like the idea of it.
Rob, you mentioned a lot of teams that may take the titles off Waka and Hanako, and I totally agree. I think that I think you're gonna. I wouldn't be shocked at the end of this month that they drop the belts. Where do you stand with Demolition? Do you think that Demolition, if they bring the Axer and the Smasher, do you think that that's, I mean, what, rice or bread versus Demolition? Who doesn't want to see Axe versus Hanako smash, throwing down with Waka? I think they need to look into that, my friend. I think they need to look into that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? If anyone can end that reign, it is Demolition. There's a couple of interesting teams there. And again, I do think you don't really want the same person holding those belts when they are being defended on the same show. So we'll see. We'll see. They might well continue to hold them. I think if they're not into 200 days, they're close to 200 days as champion. So, it's been quite the reign for Wanako. Moving on then, singles match, all God's Eye affair. And Matt, when I saw this announced, I was like, this is a match for Matt. Matt's going to enjoy this match. And Matt, Hina versus Kyoko Katatsu, was it right up your alley?
Yes, it was my jam, as you call it, my friend. But as you mentioned when we did the results, less than 8 minutes. I wish this would have went 10, 11, 12 minutes. Hina is, you can just tell there's just a new aura to her. It really seemed like, she wins the future belt. She wins it in her hometown back at the Path of Thunder. Dun, 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 and rock and roll. And you're like, okay, let's see what she can do. And she really did a great job holding up the standards to the belt that her two sisters have, right? I think Rina and Hanan are the two best champions to ever hold that belt. So, she's on a roll. Has a really good 5-star Grand Prix, has some really great matches in the tournament. And then even with the loss, her losing, it's like, ooh, I wouldn't mind maybe seeing her and Starlight Kid go for the Wonder of Stardom Championship on the way to Dream Queen, or maybe I wouldn't be shocked in the first quarter of next year she's challenging for the Wonder of Stardom champion, depending on whoever that is. And you can just tell, like, she comes into this show and there's just a different aura about her. And again, she's just coming off a loss, losing that belt to Hanako, and a great match for the Future Stardom Championship back at the Korakuen show. And she just fits in so well here. And Kyoko Katatsu, another one. Again, that's her style of wrestling. That shoot style of wrestling is right up my alley. You basically have like striking versus the judo. You have the great grappler versus the great striker. And they really made it work. Like really great ground wrestling to start. You see Kyoko's trying to get her distance, trying to use those strikes, those low kicks to set up like for those open hand palm strikes and the opener part of this match. And Hina does a great job like selling and feeding and like looking like that she's really fighting from behind, and then just really fires up with some really great stuff. Kyoko Katatsu is able to weather the storm halfway through the match from Hina and then locks in a knee bar onto Hina. Hina does a great job selling it. Excellent stuff there. Hina's able to come back with that pump handle Uranagi and then hits the Hina special for a 2 count. Eventually, though, she puts away Kyoko Katatsu with that Northern Lights jackhammer, as I like to call it. Really great stuff. 3 3/4 stars. Again, I think Kyoko Katatsu is another one that can really benefit from these new blood matches, these singles matches, because we really don't see her have many singles matches in Stardom. And again, let her go 9-10 minutes with a Riara, with a Yuki, with a Uriah Hime. I wouldn't mind seeing her and Uriah Hime have an 8 or 9 minute match. Let's see Kyoko Katatsu versus Kyoko Furusawa. I mean, obviously that'll be tough to, as we're writing our notes down, but I mean, you have the knee bars, the submissions, the transitions, a lot of great stuff there. So I thought this was really, really good. Again, Hina basically leading a match. With obviously again, Kyoko Kitatsu is more known for the shoot style, so you can kind of tell that Hina's kind of putting her what she does best in certain spots in this match, and it made it work. 3 3/4 stars for me, partner.
Moving on then to the semi-main event, and we were waiting with bated breath to see the exchanges between Bozilla and Zones, and that didn't disappoint. Neither did Bozilla and Soy. I really enjoyed that, but Matt, I never, ever, ever want them to break Bozilla and Akira Kurogane up. As a team, I absolutely love them, and I know that they were sort of leaning into a little bit of frustration on Bozilla's part. And I know that obviously last week I was talking about how I'm not convinced about her booking in terms of especially tag team matches. But I just don't want to see them. I just don't want to see them break up because they're so good together. They've got such a good chemistry together as well. And again, they showed it here, and it was nice to see Mi Vida Loca actually picking up a decent win. And again, good for Bozilla's momentum against someone like a Zones, who is very powerful.
Rob, you just made mention something, and you're absolutely right. Kieran Bozilla, I don't ever want to see them break up. So now we need to come up with a fancy name. Like rice or bread, Wanako. That's the name of the team.
Wanako.
So we need to come up with a fancy name for these two, like Akira Zilla, maybe Bo Akira.
Bo Kira.
Bo Kira. There it is.
There you go.
There, that didn't take long. Did not
take long. Bo Kira. There you go. Sorted.
This match exactly what you know would be. Obviously, Soy's a powerhouse. Zones is a powerhouse. Bozilla is a powerhouse and an absolute ass kicker. And Akira was great in this. I mean, you got to give Akira her flowers. Like we knew, like when this match was announced, like okay, we're going to see some great exchanges with Bozilla and Soy. We're going to see some great exchanges with Bozilla and Zones. Akira was terrific as well, using the submissions, using the strikes. I love it how she uses that bridging half-out suplex. I love it how she uses the Russian leg sweep and floats over into the crossface. Like it just seems so seamlessly. Again, very much like an Emma and a Kikyo that we talked about earlier. Another one of these great young wrestlers that's finding their way in Stardom. And again, she's already in a faction, and she's in the new faction with Bozilla and Suzu and Rena. So it's just like, yeah, this is really going to be great for her. And you're putting her in with Bozilla as a tag team. I thought this was really, really great stuff. Again, I just loved it how Bozilla just overpowered and just really dominated Zones and Soy to the point where we get towards the middle of the match. My favorite part of this match was Bozilla and Zones, these forearm exchanges, and nobody's budging. I'm like, this is new. We knew we were going to get, and we got it, and it was great. Really great stuff. Bozilla hits a big slam to Soy, and then there's one part where Bozilla hits a DDT onto Soy, and then we get some tag team work from Soy and the Zones onto Bozilla, which the psychology makes sense. Anytime there's a one-on-one exchange with Bozilla and Zones, Bozilla wins. Same thing, Bozilla and Soy, Bozilla wins. So you can just see Soy and Zones are like, look, we need to team up to try to take down the big monster that is Bozilla. And again, Akira's stuff worked absolutely perfect in this match. Ultimately, is Bozilla getting the Vader bomb for the win. 3 3/4 stars for me. But yeah, I totally agree. Like Zones and Soy were great here. Love to see them more in Stardom proper and New Blood. But this Bozilla and Akira team, it just works on so many levels. Not only what they do teamwork wise, but character wise as well. They're generally like really entertaining outside of the stuff they do in the ring.
Yeah, again, it's those backstage comments, it's those backstage segments where Bozilla is quite clearly getting frustrated with the fact that she's losing, but is also trying to fire up Akira Kurogane and trying to unlock that extra level in Akira. And I'm wondering if, we've talked a lot about how tournaments are the breakouts for wrestlers. We talked about how this year it was without shadow of a doubt Rena. But it could be a case of the goddesses of Stardom Tag League, depending on who they go with. Obviously, Suzuki is expected back very shortly. It'll be really interesting to see what tag team pairing they go with, because if they do go with Pokira, I do think that it could be the making of Akira Kurogane. We could really see this be her breakout tournament. And, it's the same for Uriah Himi as well, depending on who they team her with, which will probably be Momo Kogo. If obviously Bea Priestley at the moment is back in the US, I know she's due back, but I don't know if she's due back for the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, which in if she's not, that would leave obviously Wingori and Peach and Lily which is Momokogo and Uriah Hime. So again, I'm expecting quite big things from Uriah Hime and Akira Kurigani in this year's Goddess of Stardom tag league. You're absolutely right, Matt. A month tomorrow, as we record, is when the tournament officially starts. So I imagine we are not far away from a press conference announcing the teams for the tournament, and hopefully one that is visually packaged a lot less like something bad is going to happen, because another one like that, I don't think I'll make it to the podcast.
That's what I wanted. I just want to forewarn you when they announce that there's a press conference. Now, obviously, Stardom, if you're listening, just announce that it's a press conference for the Goddess tournament. Because if you announce we're doing a press conference and all of a sudden Rob turns on YouTube and all of a sudden there's a Zoomy and Starlight Kid and Saya Kamatani and Mo, she's like, oh my God, half the roster's retiring. What are we doing?
I will not be able to handle it, Stardom. Please don't do that to me.
Just say we're doing a Goddess. We're gonna give the tag teams for the Goddess tournament, because or else Rob's gonna think that half the roster is leaving.
Absolutely. How is the roster just a Azusa Inaba? How has this happened? Although Azusa Inaba is fantastic. Even if she is that good, I don't think she can carry a roster on her own. Anyway, main event time. Tae Honma, her final Stardom appearance before her imminent retirement, and she took on Ronnie Yagami. Obviously, this was off the back of exchanges at Korakuen Hall, which Tae Honma obviously came out on the winning side of it, a 6-woman tag, pinning Rana Yagami. This was the chance for Rana to exact a little bit of revenge, and she surely did in the match. The match is great, and I'm going to let obviously Matt dissect it as he does so well. But what I thought was a more telling moment was the end of the match, where Tae Honma took to the microphone and said, I can see you as a top star, really putting over Rani Yagami and saying that she's going to be watching her in the future with, a lot of anticipation and a lot of expectations. So I thought that was a really nice moment, Tae taking the time to really put over Rani Yagami.
I made mention, we talked about Hina. I wouldn't be shocked between this time, in the first quarter of next year, she's challenging for the Wonder Stardom Championship. I think that Rana is only a few months behind after this match. And again, she was great in last year's 5-star Grand Prix. If you remember that she was put in last minute because Ami Sourei was injured. She was great in this year's 5-star Grand Prix. She's been great when she's challenging for the future Stardom Championship. But she just had something different. Like, there was a different spark to her here. Like, this was great. I thought Rana was the best wrestler on this show. She was fantastic. And again, I think I would not be shocked if this time next year she challenges for one of the big championships in Stardom, either the IWGP, the Wonder, or the World, because she's that good and she's ever improving. And you give 13 minutes in the main event, and not only does she deliver, she over delivers. I mean, this was great. You start out with the big lockup, which again, Rob, as soon as you're starting out a big lockup, I'm like, all right, this is the main event. You can tell now. We get really fast exchanges between the two. And then Ronda starts to try to grind Tae Honma down. Tae Honma basically uses her experience early on in this match, lures Ronda in, and she does that hanging armbar off the apron, which I really, really like, and then hits a missile drop kick. Ronda's able to come back with some strikes that sets up that cross arm breaker. Really like that. And then Tae Honma gets to the ropes, and Ronda's staying aggressive. Like, Tae gets to the ropes, like, okay, I need to break the hold, but I can still do something here. And then she comes running off the ropes and just plows into Tae Honma with that running penalty kick, which I thought was great. And then Rana just fires up with a series of forearms and strikes. Really good stuff there. Tae Honma is able to come back with a rolling armbar. Like, she weathers another storm for Rani Yagami. Thoroughly enjoy that. And then Rani Yagami gets the advantage back and then hits a version of the return crush. I was like, oh, that's something new. Now, not as good as Mina's, not as good as Miyu Yamashida's, not as good as Miko Wada's, but I was like, if we're adding that in the arsenal, and obviously she's going to continue to get better with it, I'm all for it, because I thought where it was placed in the match was great. She hits the return crush. That opens up the door for her to hit the buzzsaw kick, also known as the beach strike. Easily my favorite match of this show. This actually made my top 5 favorite matches of this past week. 4.25 stars for me. Really great stuff. And again, Tae Honma, very much like you, very much like Meiko Satomura, very much like Nanai Takahashi. I know Yu's not retiring for another 2 months, but all these Joshis that are retiring, Rob, or have already retired, like, they still have a lot of gas in the tank. Like, it's just like, it's not like, you can see sometimes when wrestlers are retiring, like, yeah, maybe they should have left a year or 2 earlier, but like, yeah, I get it. Like, these Joshis that are retiring are like retiring at the top of their game. Tae Honma, really, really great match here at Ronnie Yagami. Again, 4.25 stars. and I'm super excited for the future of Rana. Again, she's in this company with the Shuris, the Mo Watanabes, the Sai Kamatanis, the Kanamis, the Izumis, the Starlight Kids. She's only going to get better, and she's gotten a lot better over the last 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, and obviously Risa Sarah is another one that is on the verge of retirement, which obviously we wish them all nothing but the best. But it is worth saying, like, not everyone is given the opportunity to retire, to choose when they retire, to choose when they leave. And often we talk about wrestlers that have had to retire through injury or have had careers ended through injury. And it's just nice to have, someone like a Tae Honma, someone like a Risa Sarah, someone like a Nanae Takahashi who's been wrestling for goodness knows how long, to be able to say, no, I'm ready to leave now. It's my choice. I'm doing it on my terms. And, I'm glad to see that's happening. And I'm glad to see, I'm happy for Tae Honma. I'm happy for Risa Sarah. I'm obviously happy for Nanae as well. So that's always good to see. It's sad to see that we won't see them in the ring anymore. As you mentioned, Tae Honma, even just in this match, showcased that she still has a lot of gas left in the tank. Could easily go another 5-6 years, to be perfectly honest. But again, dependent on what you want to do, dependent on what you want to do outside of wrestling. Wrestling is not the be all and end all, despite us as fans believing it to be. It's great to see these wrestlers going out on their terms, and that's really, really, really important. Overall, Matt, I thought a really, really solid New Blood show to get us back into the swing of New Blood shows. I'm excited to see what we do in terms of the come on, Rob. Title picture. Sorry, I couldn't remember the word. The next New Blood show. I'm just trying to have a look. For some strange reason, I don't have it on there, so I will just double check when the next one is. I know it is October at some point, but I just don't have it on my schedule in front of me. So just give me a second. The next New Blood show is the 17th of October. So literally 2 weeks on Friday. Yeah.
1 week,
So
yeah,
no, a
1 week,
week on Friday.
a week on Friday, yeah.
So we've got that. Obviously, we've then got another one coming up at the end of the month, which is October. At the end of October, 30th of October. That's going to be New Blood 26 as well. So again, lots and lots of time for some good New Blood wrestling. Moving on, and just very, very quickly, obviously, Stardom running another Korakuen Hall show on the 11th of October, which is this coming Saturday. Only 2 matches currently announced for that Korakuen Hall show at the moment, which means, of course, that the entire card will be announced the moment we stop recording. We mentioned last week, of course, that those 2 matches are BMI 2000 making their first defense of the Goddesses of Stardom championships against the Reiwa Tokyo Towers, which is Lady C and Amisori, who may or may not have gained some momentum at Historic Crossover 3 with a win over Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki. And then we've got the is it or isn't it double title match between Hazuki and Koguma. Now, this was initially supposed to be CMLL Japan Women's Championship and Spark Joshi World Championship double title match. It is now solely being advertised as we mentioned last week, the CMLL Japan Women's Championship match. So again, singles match between the pair. Hazuki has a rotten record against Koguma. I imagine that rotten run will probably continue. I imagine Koguma needs the win significantly more than Hazuki needs it. And I imagine, even though I would love to see Lady C with gold strapped around her waist because I think she has earned it. Same with Amisori, especially after that horror injury. I do think BMI 2000 are retaining as well. So I think there will be 2 title retentions here, Matt.
Yeah, I agree. I think BMI 2000, they'll retain here. And considering the fact that it's not for the Spark Joshi Championship, clearly that leads to Koguma getting the win here. And you're absolutely right. I think she needs the win over Hazuki. Obviously, we love the Dancing Bear, but I think majority of us that love FWC, that kind of the leader of this team is Hazuki. And that's no disrespect to Koguma. It's Hazuki. It's Hazuki. So I think this will be a really big, a big singles win for Koguma if she does win. I mean, I can't remember the last time she had a big one-on-one singles win. So Korakuen Hall, I think the tickets, I think there's only 2 sections that aren't sold out. So my guess this will be another 1,000+ seater in Korakuen. And then there's another Korakuen, Rob, coming up at the end of this month. So I wouldn't be shocked if they use this Korakuen to set up the next Korakuen. Again, whether it's Starlight Kid versus Bozilla that we alluded to last week, or maybe something with Serene, the IWGP, or maybe BMI 2000. Maybe we see a challenge after that if they are successful, or an artist, something with the Artists of Stardom Championship. So I wouldn't be shocked if that we do see that we use this Korakuen to set up the next Korakuen coming up at the end of the month. Regardless, it's Korakuen Hall, Rob Goodwin. It is going to be, I believe, either on Stardom or on YouTube, but it's going to be a great show because it is Stardom in the famed Korakuen Hall.
You do say that, Matt. Of course, the next Korakuen Hall show after this one is the 27th of October. That's only a week removed from Crimson Nightmare. Now, we already know that Saya Kamitani and Momo Watanabe were squaring off on that show. I do think that a lot of that Korakuen Hall show will be setting things up for Crimson Nightmare. So I do think that this one will probably have a few more title matches. I think we might see Bozilla run through members of Neo Genesis if we're going to go Bozilla versus Starlight Kid for Crimson Nightmare. I would like to see more of a build to it, but again, we'll see. Maybe that's where we're going. But yeah, anyway, that's what we have at the moment. Now, of course, ordinarily I would throw to Matt now because, of course, it is time for an Io and Kairi watch. But the problem is we are recording on a Monday and Raw hasn't happened yet. So, Matt, I'm assuming there is absolutely nothing from the world of Io and Kairi that you would like to continue with.
Not unless you want to get into the tapes or the DVDs or go back and watch some great matches with Io. And I did go back and watch Io versus Mayu for their first match of the trilogy. So go on YouTube and watch that if you want to. So spoilers, it's a 5-star match from years ago. But no, again, obviously we're recording this for a few hours before Monday Night Raw. So more than likely next week there could be 2 Io and Kairi watches. And I think maybe even 3 because I think Crown Jewel is next. Is it this weekend or next weekend?
It's this coming Sunday. Sunday.
Wow. So I tell you, while I'm in New York, buddy, I will have there will be the Korakuen show, and then Crown Jewel. So wow, look at that. Comics and wrestling, mixing it all together, buddy. Time off from work, powering down the work cell phone. Living the dream, buddy. Living the dream.
Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, clocking in at perhaps our shortest ever episode, that does bring to an end our episode for this week. Just the one show to mention, as we said. Thank you so much to everyone for listening. We truly appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. We are everywhere, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Castbox, Pocket Casts, wherever you get it, we are there. If you would leave us a 5-star review and a comment, that really helps us out as well, because that helps us be exposed to even more people. As we mentioned before, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for a whole host of bonus episodes and back catalogue of over 1,000 hours and more of bonus content of myself, Matt, Andy Header, Allison, Karen Peterson, Sky Wrestling. All sorts of people are over there at patreon.com/StardomCast for as little as $1 a month. You can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast, unless, of course, it is Blue Sky, Instagram, or Threads, where we are Talk Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Mr. Matthew Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or, folks, you can simply shoot me an email. The email address is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, don't forget, if you're over on the Twitter, give us a follow on our new page at TalkJoshi2025. We would greatly appreciate it. We also greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. As we're all this together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.